Hey guys, Infidel 1258 here. Today I want to get into a clip from the town hall, which was on August 29th, Monday. And in this one, we have the head engineer talking about what they're most focused on in the short term, the biggest project that they're excited about that I haven't heard really being a focal point in the community conversation at this point. And I think it needs to be. And so we're going to talk about what he talks about. We're going to hear a minute clip and I'm going to try and break down what I imagine the importance of this issue is. This is what they're calling the uVentures project. Let's hear what Dante has to say about this. He's head of engineering, and Aggie just introed him. Dante's going to tell us what is the most important thing right now that they're working on. Listen up.
Yeah, so we're mostly focused on the project called uVentures, which is basically creating a Steemmonsters game engine so that other players and other developers and people in general can also develop their own games and create their own kind of earn-to-play GameFi games if they wanted to.
Okay, and then for like where is that project at? Like what are we working on? What is the main deliverable, and what are you feeling the most pressure to like get rolled out or put together?
So far, we've delivered a universal authentication system so that you'll be able to log in through several different games. Hopefully, between Splinterlands and MLSPA, and then any other derivatives that we come out with in the future.
And that has such far-reaching business implications, right? Like if every single person from every different sport and every different entertainment piece suddenly not only gets a login to that game that they did, but they also get the login to Splinterlands. Like I'm really hoping that the sort of single sign-on experience helps cross-pollinate players across all these different games. I mean, why not? You're already here. You might as well play that other thing or see if you like it.
Yeah, I think
So this idea of this, they're calling it uVentures. So I'm going to use that word. Maybe that's a working title. I don't know. But uVentures, a game engine that others can use to make their own games, play and earn games, and which will have a universal authentication system, meaning if you get attracted by game number 1 or game number 2 or game number 100, you will have this universal authentication system that easily connects you to sign on to these other play and earn games in a safe, simple, secure manner. I think that's gigantic, and they talked about that a bit. That interconnected nature and economy will be one that can't help but cross-pollinate audiences and communities. I think that's huge. And that's only one facet. That's the universal authentication system that they've already tackled. Great, awesome. That in and of itself is really powerful, but it's really nothing until you start to add to it the broader idea of a game engine that others can make their own play and earn gaming on. If for like real world examples, there's really nothing that you can think of except for like Unreal Engine. Like there are gaming engines that everyone uses. And first mover advantage to me strikes that conversation comes to mind when I think about this. Like Splinterlands is kind of leading the way. No, they are definitively leading the way in this element of growing this economy. They've expressed clear and concise intent to decentralize, to invite third-party developers to get involved and use their technology and stand on their shoulders and grow what we're doing here. And then they've got this understanding, and I think rightly, that will translate to positive attention and interconnected communities that will benefit Splinterlands investors. And then maybe our in-game assets will have some sort of utility within that game or this game. There's tower defense that's coming. We heard about the Genesis Soccer League. And they've talked about within the GSL conversation, they've talked about how that is going to translate to a product that will allow replication and automation of some components that are technically demanding. And that is why this process is so meaningful, whether you're excited about Genesis Soccer League or, a tower defense, or Aggie mentioned some sort of gambling app. Whether you don't care about any of those, this deeply matters because of the SDK implications, the software development kit component that this is representing, this uVentures idea that there's going to be a package that people who are savvy but don't necessarily know blockchain. They understand game development but not necessarily, or game design, but they don't necessarily have that technical expertise. This is going to bridge that gap, and Unreal Engine is like an example of what that is. Unreal Engine is a piece of technology that was essentially marketed to allow you, a developer, to create your own gaming experience using some of the foundational tools and like a kit of information that they had already developed, like graphics, physics, certain rules that your game could be built upon, allowing you to step on the shoulders of somebody who came before you and who had expertise in, I guess, answering some of the technical questions that perhaps you didn't. And the same thing is coming true with now Splinterlands and what they're doing through the uVentures. But like, just look at the diversity of gaming experiences that came out of that from the list of Unreal Game Engine games that Wiki has to show. I mean, we've got pinball, we've got survival, we've got action role-playing games, first-person shooters, educational, and 20 plus years of this, by the way. But like, they were something of a first mover in the sense of creating this platform that a broad demographic and game designer, a broad audience of game designers could utilize and put to work. And I think Splinterlands is now stepping into that role for the blockchain, for the NFT side of things. And if it is as versatile as what we see here, and I think it will be, we're going to be amazed by what we get, because we've already heard about how Splinterlands is they're aiming at, well, just think about what they've already done. They have a collectible card game, Splinterlands. It has an auto brawler experience. Then there's brawls within that. There's tournaments within that. Those are the same game, but they're not. They're also with this unique experience within it, especially brawls. There's all kinds of unique rules that apply to brawls, and that makes it a game within a game. Land is going to be another example of that. These are games within the game, but then there's broader expansions such as the tower defense we've heard about, and there's the gambling opponent game we've heard come about, GSL soccer. These are going to be totally different things, and yet they're going to be using the technology and interconnecting with our ecosystem. Like SPS will have some role, our cards may have some sort of role, and it is going to depend on a case-by-case basis, but that's hugely bullish. And it's not, and the analogy of it being something like Unreal Engine is both appropriate and inaccurate in some, just like all analogies, it always falls apart at some point. But it's accurate in the sense that we are going to be the first real SDK, a software development kit, that is going to step in and serve this functionality like Unreal Engine. That will give us a huge first mover advantage. It'll be reached out for a broad range of the gaming experiences that we saw with this, and I think it'll speak into longevity also, just like we've seen with Unreal Engine. And Unreal Engine has been iterated upon, getting more and more sophisticated as the years go by and changing graphics and whatnot. The same will happen with Splinterlands SDKs with this uVentures project, and that's super, super exciting. But the analogy falls apart in one key way, and let's just spend a moment there. It falls apart in the sense that if you played Harry Potter, this action adventure from 2004, it has no economic connection to Postal 2, whatever that is, or Red Steel or Shark Tale. Like, there's no interconnectiveness, there's no bonuses for having played the prior game, but there will be connection and economic bonuses within the games that come from the uVentures project, almost certainly, but not assuredly. We can't say for certain, because some projects might want to go it their own way and refuse to send sort of, I guess, bonuses or interconnectedness, but I doubt it. Because why wouldn't you? In many cases, these blockchain-based video games are issuing non-fungible tokens that are limited in nature, and it's easy enough to just say 5% of that goes to the Splinterlands audience who have X amount of SPS, because we want to attract their participation and excitement in this space. And that's where the cross-pollination comes from, and that's why the analogy of Unreal Engine falls. That's where the analogy falls down, because there isn't that economic interconnectionness between these games. But man, will there be with our Splinterlands uVentures project. So I'm super pumped by creating this product, uVentures, and this toolkit that will then open doors for certain visionaries to create their own game and experience, we invite cross-pollination through this, what do they call it? Universal authentication system and community building between one another. As this, you already have a safe, secure, simple manner to log in through game one, and you maybe like Steam, not Steam the blockchain, but Steam the website where you search and buy video games from. You can imagine a place where there would be maybe hundreds of different titles that you could download that would be interoperable with from this special or software development kit, this SDK package, this uVentures project, and easily and safely and securely, like you can log into them and try these different games. Later in that clip, Aggie says this is essentially DeFi gaming in a box. Actually, it might have been the other guy who said it, but either way, this idea of literally packaging the complexity of what Splinterlands has captured and what they've been offering in their own game, interoperability, interconnectedness, cross-pollination, exciting certain people about certain games in one environment, but then having the door open for them to move from that game to our game or to a third game that we don't even yet know about. This is really significant. This is really revolutionary. This is the first time that I know about that any game in this space has been tackling this. And if this goes well, and I believe it will, based on the past record and kind of what we've seen out of these guys, and the expertise and the transparency we've grown accustomed to through Splinterlands and their town halls, it strikes me that this is pivotal, and this is a key component of how this revolutionary technology, blockchain, non-fungible tokens, will move into a broader gaming experience for us outside of just this kind of collectible card game auto brawler that is Splinterlands. And this game is so much more than that. Don't get me wrong, but that is, in a nutshell, if you were to describe it, that's what I would say this is. And we're going into bigger, different directions. And I think one day the list is going to look something like this, where you've got like I said earlier, pinball games and shooters and RPGs and totally different experience. Look at this list of things: action, adventure, first person shooter. Yeah, man. There's massive online RPGs, and oh man, this is very exciting stuff. And I do believe that we have the opportunity of translating some of that existing kind of success in that you see there into the blockchain realm through what Splinterlands is doing. If you agree, then I think there's reason to be excited. If you disagree, I'd love to see a comment below kind of articulating why you don't have faith in what's being aimed at here. Because to me, it seems deeply exciting. And if there is reason to kind of cast doubt on it, I actually want to see that. Right now, I don't see any reason to doubt or to deny the likelihood of success. And therefore, I'm hugely excited about this new project. And I thought I'd share this with you. So thank you so much for your time. Have an amazing day, guys. God bless.